Tom Nolan. Is that right? Now, you mentioned a couple...
Again, sir, one of those was a bad phone number, a mistaken phone number, so there was only 4.
I understand, but of the 4, the one individual who responded was Tom Nolan.
That's right.
All right. Now, you mentioned a couple of times that this particular unit that you handle in West Los Angeles, was it called MAC or...
MAC.
MAC?
MAC unit.
MAC unit. And in that connection, were you aware that Miss Nicole Brown Simpson had filed an annoying phone call crime report for the period March 2nd, 1992, December 4th, 1992?
Excuse me.
You aware of that?
I didn't have that unit at that time, sir.
All right. Were you aware of it?
No.
Report? You didn't know anything about that at all?
No, sir.
You know about a suspect in that regard?
No, sir.
Who was in charge of that unit at that time, if you know? Who preceded you?
We didn't have a MAC unit at that time, sir. It was a different unit called a CAPS unit, Crimes Against Person unit, and it was all reorganized in 1994. So it was handled by the CAPS unit, if that was the kind of call or report it was, and I don't know who was running the CAP unit in whatever year that 1992 you just said.
Yeah, 1992.
I don't know who was running that CAP unit at that time.
All right. Now, did you have more than one cell phone with you that night?
I only had one personal cell phone, my own.
All right. So that when you got to the scene, the cell phone that you'd made these calls on there on people 60 for identification, did you give that cell phone to someone?
No.
Did you give Risky a cell phone at some point?
Not give Rossi or Risky my cellular telephone.
You kept it with you, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the reason those numbers on there, the lines are redacted, because they have the phone numbers of people that you call that you like to keep private, is that right?
All those numbers that are crossed out are personal phone numbers of detective or police officers' home residential phone numbers.
All right. Now, did Detectives Lang and Van Adder articulate for you why they were going to go over to Rockingham? Why were they going over to Rockingham?
Well, I think it was just a conversation that came about. I told them I had to make a notification. They stated that they would probably want to go along with us. They were the lead investigating officers on the crime. They might want to talk to them. They may have a statement. So it was just it was 4 detectives making a decision to go up there based on a couple of facts, and we went.
Let me see if I understand this. All 4 detectives, all homicide detectives, leave the bodies out there. The coroner's not been notified. You all go over to another location to give notification to a man. You don't know whether he's home or not. Is that what you're saying to us?
Well, the 4 of us went up there to do that, and 2 of us were going to stay, and 2 of them should come right back.
See, but you all went. The question is, you all went over there.
Yes, we did.
And at that point, no one had called the coroner regarding these bodies. Is that correct?
That's correct.
No one had called a criminalist to come out and start collecting evidence. Is that correct?
I don't know that.
Well, as far as you know.
As far as I know, no criminalist was called.
You know Fung wasn't there, right?
Don't know that he wasn't called already.
You know he wasn't there, though, don't you?
He was not there.
And even when you came back, he wasn't there, was he?
When I came back, I walked up and talked to the lieutenant. I did not go back over to Bundy, so I don't know if he was there.
Well, you never saw Fung at any time that morning while you were there, did you, sir?
No, sir.
All right. You were there till 10 o'clock that morning, right? Right?
Off and on.
All right. So all four of you decided to go over to Rockingham, and you go in two separate cars, right?
That's correct.
Had, by the way, before you left the location there at Bundy, had anyone ascertained whether or not Mr. Goldman had driven a car to that location?
No, sir.
Did you ever find that out that morning, that he had in fact driven a vehicle there?
I didn't
Parked
find
somewhere?
that out until late that afternoon.
Okay, when did you find that out?
Right around 3:30 in the afternoon, I believe.
And how'd you find that out? Somebody told you?
I received a phone call at West LA Detectives.
All right. Did you, when you were out there in that morning, was anybody checking on the vehicles that were parked in and around Bundy and the Dorothy location?
I think the officers wrote the license numbers down. I don't know that anybody did any investigating into those cars, no.
Did you find out that Mr. Goldman had in fact driven a vehicle there at some point?
As I said, 3:30 in the afternoon, I was told that by a phone call.
Okay. Did you find out where that vehicle was parked, sir?
Yes, I do, but I don't remember where. It was parked somewhere around Dorothy and Bundy or something.
All right. Near Dorothy and Bundy? This intersection we've seen so many times?
I don't remember where exactly on that corner, how far from that corner.
What kind of car was it?
I never saw the car. I believe I was told it was a Toyota, but I never saw the vehicle.
All right. You never saw the vehicle. You don't recall it when you were out there?
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So who was driving the vehicle when you and Furman left? Which vehicle were you driving?
I was driving my vehicle.
Okay. And Furman and you had come to the scene in that same vehicle?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then you, when you went over to the Rockingham location, do you recall whether or not you invited a photographer to come with you?
No, sir, we did not.
Were there any uniformed police officers who accompanied you from Bundy over to Rockingham?
No, we requested one after we got in there.
So at first it was just the four of you detectives, is that correct?
That's correct.
In two separate cars, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And because all four of you left the scene, leaving the bodies there, that's when Lieutenant Rogers was left there?
Well, Lieutenant Rogers was left in charge. He was Van Adder and Lang's supervisor, so I would imagine they left him in charge.
All right. Do you know whether or not he called for the coroner?
No, sir.
You know whether or not he called for a criminalist?
No, sir.
All right. So then you then drove over to the Rockingham residence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you described for us your getting to the location, is that correct?
Yes.
And again, your purpose was to go there just to break the news to Mr. Simpson, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Van Adder and Lang just decided they'd just come along to find out what might happen, is that right?
No, I don't think they just decided to come along. It was their case. They had a right to come along. They were the investigating officers on the case.
All right. They had a right to come along. By the way, they didn't have a search warrant, did they, at that point?
No, sir.
Oh, well,
Now,
be sustained. That's irrelevant.
okay. At any rate, they went. You rode to the location, is that right? And what time did you get to Rockingham?
I believe it was shortly after 5.
And you described, you rang the bell to try to get inside, is that correct?
Rang the bell to try to get someone inside to answer
To
that.
answer it? And at some point, as I understand it, Detective Furman, on his own, climbed over the fence and opened the fence and let the others of you in, is that right?
When you say on his own, he went unassisted over the fence, but he went over the wall because Van Adder or Lang had told him to do that.
All right. I understand that the two who were in charge apparently told him to do that, but he went, nobody invited him over there. He did it on his own, right?
He did it under the direction of a supervisor.
All right. He climbed over the fence.
Yes.
All right. And then he opened the gate. Is that right?
He unlatched something on the gate that caused it to open. I don't know what he did.
And at the time that, what time was that when he went over the fence, climbed over this fence?
Well, it was shortly before 5 o'clock, 10 minutes before.
What time
I'm sorry, 10 minutes before 6 o'clock.
Well, let's see. You left Bundy about 5 or so?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sorry.
And, yes, all right. And you got over there, and how long were you outside before Furman climbed over this fence?
30, 35 minutes probably.
Did the West Tech people come during that period of time?
2 of them did.
Okay, was there a sergeant?
Eventually, yes.
Do you remember either of the West Tech individuals' names?
No, sir.
You had conversations with them?
Just the one.
Is that when you went into all this effort to try to get the phone number of
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Simpson? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Was there a black and white police vehicle there present before Mark Furman climbed over that fence?
Yes, sir.
What time did the black and white arrive, if you recall?
I would say in the area of 20 minutes to 6.
All right, do you know the names of the officers who were there at that point? Is there more than one?
Yes, I believe it was Officer Ashton, A-S-H-T-O-N, and I believe his partner was Gonzalez.
Officer Gonzalez?
Yes.
And they were there, you think, by 20 of 6. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know exactly what time they were there. They were there before we went over the wall because I requested them.
All right, and then you didn't go over the wall. Furman went over the wall, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and after he went over the wall, he then let the rest of you in, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've described for us that after gaining entrance and going over this wall, by the way, you ultimately passed by or saw a man by the name of Cato Kalin, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And he was talked to fairly early that morning, isn't that correct?
He was talked to, yes.
Did you tell us in your direct examination that Cato Kalin told you he didn't know whether or not O.J. Simpson had left town or
He
left
said
home?
something to that effect.
so testified
I
yes-
don't
I'm sorry.
recall exactly what he said, Mr. Cochran.
All right. You so testified yesterday. Well, may I approach, Your Honor? I'd like to mark as defendants next in order D 1024.
Yes, with the court report, please. All right, thank you, counsel. Proceed.
May I approach you?
You may.
I want to place before you a document that purports to be a statement of Brian Gerard
Objection,
King,
Your Honor, objection. The witness can be asked. There's been no foundation.
just laying for the record what the document is, Your Honor.
Overruled. The
you.
document has to be identified for the purpose of the record.
Now, I want you to look at this statement, and I want you to read the date it was taken and the time, and I want you to read, and I want you specifically to pay attention to the second paragraph of that statement. I want you to see, you read on this question.
Okay.
You read that to yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and by the way, who took a statement from Cato Kalin that night when you were out there about 6 o'clock in the morning? Which officer?
I have no idea.
Did you see the man who worked for you, Detective Furman, talking to Cato Kalin?
At one time, yes.
And do you recognize the printing on this document? Look at that document.
I've never seen this writing before.
All right, that's not Furman's writing?
No, sir.
All right. Have you ever seen that report before?
No, sir.
Does that report refresh your recollection about what Brian Cato Kalin said about the last time he saw O.J. Simpson?
Objection, Your Honor.
May I finish the question, Your Honor? I'm asking to refresh his recollection about the last time he saw Cato Kalin on June 12, 1994.
Would it refresh Cato Kalin's recollection as to the last time he saw Cato
No,
Kalin?
Your Honor. I'm asking him if his review of this report refreshes his recollection about what Cato Kalin said.
All right. That's a good question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Well, it's a good question, so you can answer that. You can.
It does not refresh my memory at all of what Cato Kalin said that night to me.
You talked to him?
No. I talked to him very, very briefly when he first answered the door.
Okay. And did you ever ask him if he knew whether or not O.J. Simpson was at home?
Yes, I asked him if he knew where Mr. Simpson was at,
Did he say-
or if he was at home. I'm not sure exactly what I asked
Okay.
him.
Did Cato Kalin tell you that he was present when...
Objection, Your Honor.
I can ask him this question, Your Honor. I can ask this question. I can
I
ask
haven't
him.
heard the question yet. Let's
All
hear
right.
the question.
Okay. Did Cato Kalin tell you that he had seen O.J. Simpson get in...
Objection, Your Honor. This is going to be all hearsay. This counsel testifying.
I'm not testifying. I'm asking a question.
Let's hear the question. Counsel, I haven't heard the question yet. Mr. Cochran,
Thank you, Your Honor.
ask the question.
Thank you. Did Cato Kalin tell you that he had seen O.J. Simpson get into a limousine to go to the airport on June 12, 1994, at between 11 and 11:15 p.m.? Did he tell you that?
No, sir.
Never said that to you?
I never interviewed the man.
Well, no. When you asked him if he knew where O.J. Simpson was, he didn't tell you he'd seen him get into a limousine?
No, sir.
He didn't tell you he was leaving town?
No, sir.
How long did you talk to him?
Very briefly, just for a couple of seconds.
All right, so we're clear. When you asked him where O.J. Simpson was, I want you to think carefully. Tell us, what did he say to you?
As I told you, I don't recall exactly what he said. I asked him if he knew where he was. I believe yesterday I said, I don't think, or he didn't know. I'm not sure that was a true statement. I do not recall.
You want to change it?
Well, I don't want to change it to anything because I don't recall exactly what the man did say. He did not tell me these things. He pointed me over to Arnell's room, and that's where I walked over. I talked to Mr. Cato Kalin for 5 seconds.
All right, well, I'm a little confused now. You thought about what you said yesterday, right?
Yes?
And do you want to change that?
No, I'm just telling you I don't remember exactly what the words were that he said about he's not home or where he was at. That's all I'm telling you, is I do not recall exactly the words he used.
All right. And the report doesn't refresh your recollection at all.
I didn't ask him those questions, and he didn't give me those answers.
Okay. You do recall him directing you to Arnell.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? And when you went down to Arnell Simpson's room, you roused her from her sleep, is that correct?
Yes.
And that, as I understand it, did you come in the back way to the Simpson home, or did you come in the front door? If you recall, and you're this route that you took from Arnell Simpson's house into the Simpson home. How'd you go?
There's,
Well, let's see if I can help you out.
didn't go in the front door, Mr. Cochran.
I will show us where you went. We're about to take a look at People's 66, if the court pleases.
All right, People 66, the diagram.
Can you show us again, show us once and for all how you went, where you went?
We walked from Arnell's room, down this walkway, up these steps, and I believe there's a series of doors right here at the rear of the residence. She unlocked one of these doors. I believe it was the door farthest to our left, and that's the way we went inside that house.
When she unlocked that door, was there an alarm on that house?
I don't know, sir.
Did you hear an alarm go off?
No alarm went off.
Did you see her press some buttons on the wall?
I didn't see her do anything.
Do you know if there's any kind of alarm for West Tech on that wall that she entered?
I would not know that.
You are sure as you sit here now that you went in some door to the rear of the house?
Yes, sir.
That you did not go around and come in the front?
I'm positive.
You positive of that?
Positive.
And who was present with you when you went to walk this route? Who was present?
Arnell, Simpson, Van Adder, Tom Lang, and myself.
And all of you went in the rear, that rear door?
I believe so.
Was Furman with you at that point?
Didn't see him at that point.
You know where he was at that point?
No, I don't.
So once he climbed over the wall, you got in, you were separated from Mark Furman, is that
No,
correct?
the only time we were separated from Mark Furman is when we stopped and talked to Cato Kalin. I believe he stayed there and talked to Cato Kalin because he did not walk down with me to Arnell's room.
All right. And you described that when you went inside the house along with Lang and Van Adder, he wasn't there in it. He
Well, I
wasn't there
don't
either.
know if he was behind me. I did not see him walk in behind us.
All right. So it was you all were inside the house, is that right at that point?
I'm sorry, sir?
It was you, Van Adder, and Lang inside of Mr. Simpson's house at that point, and Arnell.
And if anybody else followed us in, I didn't turn around to look to see who was coming.
All right. Now, what time was it that you were now inside the Mr. Simpson's home?
Would have to be right around 6 o'clock in the morning. I made the phone call at 6:05, and that was done very shortly after entering the house.
And then you had this conversation at that point with Arnell Simpson
Yes,
about where her father was?
yes.
And I asked you earlier whether or not she told you her father was out of town. And
Objection, Your Honor, you say.
may I finish the question, Your Honor?
Yes.
I asked you earlier whether or not Arnell Simpson told you that her father was out of town at that time.
Over here to the sidebar, counsel. Take our recess at this time for the afternoon. I have a dispute I want to settle with the lawyers that obviously is going to take us a little time to go back through the record. Please remember my admonition to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you regarding the case. And we'll stand in recess as far as the jury is concerned until 9:30 tomorrow morning. All right, we also have a DNA issue we need to take up. All right, and Detective Phillips, you're excused till tomorrow morning at 9:30. All right. Thank you, sir.